2014, I started this a company called Bookmates.
What do you think that you have to do to make this $100 million business?
To accomplish anything, you got to hire some very committed people for a startup. You have to build a pool of people, a pool of resources, a pool of connections. Your hard work will translate into an exponential return. All startups in India in B2C space, whether it is Flipkart or Mitra, the profitability is not in the initial stage. Isolating work and life, that is, in my opinion, for an entrepreneur, that's a mistake. Life is uncertain. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not given us guarantee of life. I can just die this moment. I can die tomorrow. I don't know, right? It's in the hands of Allah. I can change their lives. I want to be in that position to change their lives. That was my primary motivation.
Abubakr, thanks for coming on the show. Really happy to have you on this show.
My pleasure.
Before we talk about what you actually built, I want to understand, like, where does your entrepreneurial journey actually begin? Like, where does it begin?
All right, that's a great question. So I started my career with Microsoft. I spent approximately 7 years doing, building stuff for various customers across the globe for Microsoft. So while you're doing my college, as well as within Microsoft itself, there were a lot of times when I came across doing something on my own, building teams and, building a product and all that. But I always felt there was this lack of motivation to take that full entrepreneurial plunge into the world and figure out. So there are two interesting stories that I want to share with you. The first story is that I was in a meeting where there was my manager's manager, my skip level manager, and there were bunch of his peers and his manager as well. So two level skip managers, and there was this large meeting that was going on. And for some reason, that meeting was delayed because we were waiting for some more individuals to arrive to that meeting. And I saw this bunch of individuals very passionately discussing about a TV reality show. Apparently, so there was this TV show called Big Boss that was going on, right? And there was this discussion about some item dancer on the show. And I saw this amazing happiness on their faces when they were discussing it, as if they're discussing about a future technology. And that was a moment I realized I don't belong here anymore. These guys are not discussing about something that's going to happen in technology or anything. These guys are discussing about a very odd topic. But I kind of felt that if I stay in this company for another 3-4 years, I'm going to be one among them. And I just couldn't relate to that. So that was the first time when it clicked me that I need to resign from Microsoft and do something on the own.
So you're basically saying that people from Microsoft have small.
I'm not saying all the people in Microsoft are amazingly brilliant, talented at Microsoft, but that moment that happened in that conference room, that kind of triggered that spark in me that I probably need to do something on my own, or I'm going to become one among these people. That was that one moment. And then another very life-changing event that happened was, so at that time when I was in my 20s, I used to do a lot of relief work. I used to go to different places. If the floods or earthquakes have happened, I used to visit those places and do some relief work. So we had gone to Muzaffarnagar because Muzaffarnagar had witnessed some of the worst riots at that point of time. I'm talking about 2013 time frame, where over 50 children passed away because of the severe cold. Because when the riots happened, the people fled their homes and they started building makeshift camps in jungles. And the temperature at the time was -2 degrees or 5 degrees, 5 to -2 degree range. And about 50 babies died. I mean, even if you Google about it, the deaths of the babies because of the severe cold in Muzaffarnagar that happened at the time. So we here in Hyderabad, we decided to pool some money and go to Muzaffarnagar relief camps and help out this people who were living in the jungles. So we formed a team of about 10 people. We went to Muzaffarnagar and we tried to build some tents and stuff there. So as part of that, I got to travel to Muzaffarnagar district and another district called Shamli district, which is a little bit deep inside, not much covered by media. And there was this one night where we got to know that there are about 25 families who just had recently babies and they don't have money for purchasing milk. So, and our goal was to just distribute some money to them. But if we do it during the daytime, then there will be like chaos, there will be fights because there's so many people needy there. So what we decided was we'll identify the homes of these people or huts of these people. And at night around 10, 11 o'clock, we'll go there and just help them out during that time. So we went to this camp and we were helping each lady. They had literally nothing. They just had like one chapati or some of them were sleeping empty stomach. And I felt, and I swear on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I felt very, very insignificant that night. I felt as if my whole existence is just means nothing. Because what help am I giving? Like few thousand rupees to these women and it means nothing. So being like studying this engineering, topping the college, writing research papers, working in the top multinational company in the world, all of that meant absolutely nothing because I just can't help beyond few thousand rupees to these women.
Also limited to your time and you're
So I sort of felt at that night that if I don't live this rest of my life with a bigger and greater purpose, then I'm just doing injustice to my very own existence. So when I came back from Muzaffarnagar, one of the first things I did was drop a resignation letter at Microsoft. Saying that
every day, or is
a few days, like it took me after by the time the relief camps were finished and I came back to Hyderabad and then I dropped a resignation letter. And it was then I decided what I wanted to do. Because my goal was well defined that I got to do something bigger.
Right.
So that if I need to have sufficient money in hand that if there is a calamity, if there is a challenge that people are facing, I can change their lives. I want to be in that position to change their lives. That was my primary motivation.
So you come to a realization that you can no longer work a 9 to 5 and help other people because you're limited to your time and also money. And at the same time, because of this, you're living basically a mediocre life by not helping other people, right?
So I read this book. I don't remember whether this was Rich Dad Poor Dad or some other book. So there's this analogy that when you are doing a job, you're basically pulling water out of a well, right? And there is a human limitation. You can put the rope and the bucket in the well, and you need to pull it. It takes certain amount of time. So in a day, no matter how much hard work you do, you are only pulling certain number of buckets.
Yeah.
But when you are, building something, you are creating a more scalable system where your hard work will translate into an exponential return. So when you do a business, and if with the will of Allah, the business succeeds and the business grows, then, you can put aside, hey, if I'm doing, say, $5 billion worth of business, for me to give away $100 million in charity to help people, it becomes much, much easier. Whereas if I'm just earning, maybe $100,000 at the end of the year, and how much is my zakat? $2,500. And say even if I give 10% or 15% of my income, that's just $15,000. I can't even, that doesn't even feed even 2 families in India. So how do you make, you no matter what you do with a job, you will never be able to create a larger impact on the earth.
Yeah, there's actually, I don't mean to interrupt you, but there's a flip side to this also, right? It's not always the case that entrepreneurship, or when you pursue entrepreneurship, that you should always succeed. What was your mindset behind that? Because let's say you start a company and then, God forbid, everything just goes underwater, right? You put all this money, effort, and then whatever hopes you had, that, I want to help other people because of this. Why can't you just take the easy path, like the 9 to 5 path, instead of risking it all, You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, so, okay, let me answer this way. Life is uncertain. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not given us guarantee of life, right? I can just die this moment. I can die tomorrow. I can die 50 years from now. I don't know, right? It's in the hands of Allah. So no matter how much safe I play, if my, there's still so much of uncertainty. So I don't decide the life itself. So it is rather better to take a calculated risk in form of entrepreneurship and try to achieve something rather than, living a life with fearing that I might fail. Right? That's something that, Other thing is, throughout my childhood, I have been inspired by warriors. And like whenever I read stories about different warriors, whether it is Salahuddin Ayyubi or even Achilles of Troy, how he fought the war and all that, the thing that I like about warriors is that they get onto the field without the fear, and they trust their abilities, and the rest is in the hand of God, right? That's in today's era. I mean, this is not the era of warriors, but entrepreneurs are in a form, in a way, they are like warriors
Because they're against all odds.
yeah, against all odds.
Yeah.
So you just have to plunge into the war. So there's a scene in Game of Thrones where Jon Snow, and there's a huge army right in front, right? All this army is coming, and this guy's alone. He just takes a sword and he just goes into it. That, I'm going to destroy as many as possible. And then another army joins him and he wins. So the spirit of the warrior is that you take a challenge. You just go into it, right? And how things will come together and all that, you leave it to the God. You leave it to the God, right? But you have to still build your skill set. I mean, Jon Snow still needs to know how to use a sword, right? You still have to build your skill set,
right?
And you need to understand that, and you have to take a calculated risk.
So you come to a realization 9 to 5 is not for me. Now you pivot towards.
By the way, when I was at Microsoft, I never worked 9 to 5.
Okay. So what was your schedule like?
We had flexible timings, and I was sometimes working 24/7. I mean, not 24 hours a day, and then taking a rest for a few hours, things like that. But it wasn't like 9 to 5. I followed any schedule.
Okay, so you were basically working for someone else's dream, and then you come to a realization that you had to work for your own dream. What's the next step after that? How do you come about coming up with an idea, the current startup you have? So like between dropping the offer, or leaving that job and starting a new, what was that little gap like?
Mm-hmm. So, okay, there are some extremely lucky people that get this amazing idea, and then they have this aha moment that they go and build this $1 billion startup.
Right.
Doesn't happen with everybody, right? Didn't happen with me. There were a bunch of ideas that I looked at, and obviously, when you decide to be an entrepreneur, you are going in with certain limited skill set that you have with your limited abilities, right? So at that point of time, my idea was that, can I do home delivery of medicines? And, so you traditionally see, right, in the movies where the father of the hero or heroine is sick. And then, you bring a doctor to the home, and the doctor, looks at the thing and then says, here's the prescription, go and get it. So did you notice that the doctor is actually coming to the house, but the medicines are not coming to the house? The hero then rushes to buy those medicines, right? So it is very odd that when somebody is sick and in need of those medicines, we didn't have a means to get those medicines at home, right? Today, you have this 20-minute delivery, 1-hour delivery startups that do, like, they bring groceries, they bring cool drinks, they bring, apparel and all that. But still medicines, they don't get delivered so quickly. So in 2014, when I started this, a company called Bookmates, there were not many players in the market. And that was my dream, that how do we help every person in India get medicines when they are sick at their doorstep in 10 minutes, in 20 minutes time frame. And unfortunately, while we tried to scale hard, we couldn't raise Series A investment, and we had to shut it down that venture. But yeah, it lasted for about 3 years.
So you were not profitable, or basically?
Yeah, we were not profitable. It was a B2C segment, and B2C segment, like all startups in India in B2C space, whether it is Flipkart or Myntra or even PharmEasy and 1mg in the space of home delivery of medicines, the profitability is not in the initial stages. So you basically scale you scale and then you optimize once you have acquired sufficient number of customers. So we were not profitable, obviously, but we were doing more than or close to about 3 CR GMV at that point of time, but we were losing about 10 lakhs per month in Indian rupees.
So you decided to shut down this business in 2014?
No, 2017. So between 2014 till 2017, I was running this business.
So you're running this business, and then what was your first glimpse of entrepreneurship? Like, were you like, oh, this is like crazy, entrepreneurship is crazy? Or like, what did you come to realize that you didn't, before this, you didn't realize?
So there were a lot of learnings. There were a lot of learnings. Those 3 years was one hell of a ride. I would say enjoyed it thoroughly. There was significant amount of stress each day. So it made me more resilient, more patient to a lot of challenges that I came across on a daily basis. The biggest learning was that you got to hire some very committed people for a startup. You cannot have uncommitted people in a startup. Unlike an enterprise where each one has a very focused role, whereas in a startup, you will always have an uncertainty in the role. So you require people who are very committed to the vision of the startup. So I still feel that the single most factor that decides the success or failure of the startup, apart from when it is launched, obviously time to market and that market condition is very important, but that initial team that you have and how committed that initial team is towards the goal and how focused they are, that really matters.
So like, when you hire someone, and what is your thought process like, and the perfect team? How do you manage that, finding a perfect?
So I look at, there are multiple things I look at. Obviously, it also varies when you're from a role to role. But so for example, if I'm trying to hire a software developer, then I'm looking whether this person was passionate about computers from a very early stage. Like, was he passionate during his schools? So I ask him, what are the projects that you did during your school or college? And I just focus on that. Look, because I want to see some level of passion towards computers, towards creating something during that. Because if you don't have the passion from the very early days, then it's very hard to generate that passion later point of your life, right? So that's what I look at from a developer standpoint. But if I'm looking at from a sales guy, then again I look at what is the passion towards sales from very early stage. Like what are the deals that you have closed?
Right.
How did you crack customers? To what extent you went, or what are the interesting ways you try to pursue a customer and give it
you go beyond your responsibility.
Absolutely. So if somebody is looking for hey, this is the task and I'm gonna just do this task, that guy is not meant for a startup. That guy is better off working in an enterprise.
So basically, your startup fails in 2017, and then everything is now. And then, what's your next idea? What do you do after that?
So the interesting thing that happened with us is that even though our B2C startup failed, we had developed sufficient amount of technology to do home delivery of medicines. So we sort of took this piece of code and we built a product out of it. And then we went and started selling this product to the pharmacy chains across the globe. So we got customers in Indonesia, Philippines, Sri Lanka, Peru, a lot of countries.
You basically white labeled it, just like
Yeah, we white labeled our product, and we were selling it at various places. And in 2017 itself, we became cash flow positive. We started earning money, and
this goes back to what you said, where like your skills build up as an entrepreneur, and then you will get it. Because from 2014 to 2017, you're pretty much like building up your skills. And then the moment you got your second idea, 2017, all those skills build up, and then that's where
the maturity curve has to keeps going up, right? Once you are an entrepreneur and once you are seeing day-to-day challenges, so you start realizing how to operate the business more effectively. You start effectively planning your payroll at the end of the month. You don't wait till end of the month and suddenly realize we don't have money in the bank, right? So there's a lot of these cash flow challenges you try to resolve. And then even from a sales standpoint, you start realizing how do you profile customers. Like not everyone that is talking to you can become your customer.
Right.
So we start profiling those customers, and then you start figuring out how to sell it more effectively.
So 2017, new idea. How did you come about getting your first customer? What was that like? Was there a type of like crazy story you can tell us? Like how you got...
Actually, we have a crazy story. Yeah. So what happened in 2017 was that we had run out of money. We couldn't give rent for about 8 months. We had not paid 2 months of salary to the employees, and I had exhausted all my savings as well. And then there was this one lead that we were pursuing in Indonesia, and literally everything was that one particular lead at that time, and all the money that I had left was just visiting Indonesia and convincing this customer to sign the deal.
Your last money in it.
Yes. And we went, and I went to Indonesia, spoke with the customer, and it was a 1 week stay. We went and gave the presentation, and then we went and saw some potential implementation things in Indonesia. And on the very last day, on Friday, my flight was in the evening, and around afternoon time, we signed the deal.
Wow.
And this was the largest deal at that point. It was worth about $250,000. So we signed it on the very last day, and then Alhamdulillah, we paid all the salaries. We even paid the 8 months rent due, and the landlord was like so over the top happy, because he was just not expecting, because he thought this startup is going to go belly up and is not going to get money. But I had told that landlord that, hey, I'm committed. We were working on something, and I'm so happy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala figured out a way for us to get that deal, and there were no debts. We didn't run away from that situation. But yeah, the biggest learning for me at that moment was not to give up hope. The help can arrive at any point of time. We just have to keep working hard towards that goal. And a lot of entrepreneurs that I see sometimes, you interact, you have to exhaust all your options before giving up. Giving up is very easy. And you face difficulties. You face difficulties no matter what. Like sometimes people all of a sudden get cancer, and they face difficulties. So in case of entrepreneurship, you have actually signed up for difficulties. So if you face difficulties, it's all right. It's just going to make you better. It's going to teach you so many things. It's going to teach you how to handle stress. And that's an amazing thing. And eventually you'll figure out.
So many people, why is that you felt numb? Why is that you didn't feel anything? Because other people in your case would have been all over the world. They've been calling people left and right. They feel like they're on top of the world. Why is that you didn't feel that way?
I guess at that moment, maybe there was a deeper realization that this is just the beginning. Yeah. There is a path for me ahead, and the responsibility begins from that point onwards. That we have now successfully pivoted. We have got a customer. We are paying off all the debts, but that's not the destination. That's just the beginning. So there's a long journey ahead. So I guess that was a deeper realization at that point.
Okay. So 2017, you got all this. Now you're ready to take it to the next level. Like, what do you do to take it to the next level? What is your thought process? Okay, I got 250. How do I make it a million? Was that your thought process, or was it something different?
Yeah, there were multiple things. I mean, we were rebuilding the team. Because we ran out of money, a lot of people left us, so we rebuilt the team. We further strengthened the product that we had, and we started looking at other international markets.
How did you further better the product? What was that product was left you? You're basically white labeling D2C.
Yeah, so when we built the product, we built for our operations in India. And it was based on our mindset, how we wanted to run the business, what are the processes that we believed in. But when you productize it, then you have to make it in a generalized fashion where a customer might have a different type of processes. And the product has to support those processes as well.
Can you talk in details like about that?
So, for example, when we built this whole pharmacy e-commerce platform, it was for Indian customers onboarding Indian pharmacies, and there were a lot of unsaid rules that are there in Indian pharmacy business. But when you take this product into an international market, you have things like you have to integrate with insurance players. You have to integrate with the POS systems that exist in that local market. You have to incorporate the local tax and regulations for that particular market. So you have to customize that platform and also generalize the platform in such a manner that now same product, if I take it to Philippines, will it work?
Right.
Can I take the same product to Peru and will it work?
The regulations are different across.
Yes, the taxation is different, regulations are different, and pharmacy market is extremely regulated in any country.
So you're basically like doing a lot of research about these international markets, basically.
Yes.
So how long does this white label product? How long are you working on it, or do you move to a different?
Yeah. So in the current state of things, there are two SaaS products that we have launched. One is a product called digitalpharmacy.io. Essentially, it's an e-commerce platform for any small and medium pharmacy in the world that wants to sell medicines online. They can just sign up on digitalpharmacy.io and they can set up their e-store within 24 hours. So it's like Shopify for pharmacies,
Right.
highly focused towards pharmacies. Right now on Shopify, you cannot set up an online pharmacy. You can sell shoes, you can sell other products, but pharmacy is a very different market. Just to give you a simple example, right? Say, for example, you are selling shirts online. You can advertise those shirts. You can show those shirts in different angles to the customers, and then the customers would be tempted to purchase that shirt. But you can't do the same with medicines. Like, I cannot just advertise diabetic medicines to somebody who is non-diabetic,
Right.
and the non-diabetic person will not be tempted to purchase those products, right? So it is very prescription driven. When a doctor writes a prescription, people purchase medicines only based on that. So the pharmacy e-commerce is slightly different from regular e-commerce, and that's where our platform comes in. It helps any pharmacy or a pharmacy chain to set up their e-store in 24 hours. The second SaaS product that we have is called as Digital RX. So what has happened is in the vertical of clinics and hospitals, what we have seen is that the patient experience has not kept in touch with the constant progress that we have made in last a decade. Even today, most of the websites or the mobile apps of the clinics and hospitals are very informational. And you end up like making a phone call to the hospital to figure out an appointment, and people still end up spending 3 hours, 4 hours sitting at the clinic to get that appointment with a doctor. Even in the first world countries, the situation is very much similar. So what our product does is that it improves the overall patient experience when it comes to booking of appointment, telemedicine, promotions, and all that. So the Digital RX as a product, it improves overall customer experience by 5x. And we also try to increase the traffic on the website by 3x by having an inbuilt SEO and a lot of content-driven features that we have.
So I got a little confusion in terms of like, what was the previous digital
Digitalpharmacy.io.
IO, right? In India, I'm not talking about international market, I'm talking about India. When a customer gets sick, they go to a traditional hospital, right? And there's no such thing as going back online and ordering and stuff like that, right? How do you address something like that? Or how is your product useful for some of those traditional hospitals?
Okay, so let's take Indian market as an example. When you look at the pharmacy market, it's divided into two segments. There is one is the acute prescriptions, acute diseases. Acute diseases are like you get fever, cold, or this cough, right? That's called as acute problems. Then there are chronic problems. Diabetics is a chronic problem, hypertension, thyroid. These are chronic problems. Anybody who has a chronic problem, they take the same set of medicines each day and they purchase every month and they have to take it lifelong. So the online pharmacy systems, they play a substantial role for these chronic patients. Why would you want a chronic patient to go stand at a pharmacy, spend time on traveling?
They can just stay home and they
Just click of a button, they get the diabetic medicines at home, right? So you're looking at a vast segment of audience. So you have a significant population which are over 50 years who, or 70 years senior citizens who are diabetic or having hypertension or thyroid or orthopedic problems. They don't need to travel. They can just buy the medicines from the click of a button. Then you have youngsters who have their jobs, who are working, who are busy. They don't want to go to pharmacies and spend time, right, to purchase this medicine. So they can buy this medicines quickly online. For acute problems, like somebody has a cough or cold and they just want to buy a B-Cord or a Dolo, they just go to a pharmacy that is available.
Right.
So that's how the market.
Going off of that, I'm gonna talk about a little bit of supply chain. When we move medicine from one place to another, what are some of the intricacies that can occur? Because I know it's not always safe to move is that safe to say that you can't always move medicine easily because the medicine's quality can decrease and stuff. How do you manage?
So I understand your question, but let me just give you a little bit of background. So what we do, apart from the online pharmacy platform that we have, we also have a pharma distribution product. And we have got customers across the globe for that product as well. It's called as ZipDX. So it's a distributor pharmacy connect platform. So all these pharmacies that you see, they are purchasing products from distributors, or the distributors are then subsequently purchasing the products from the manufacturers, right? So we have a platform that helps distributors distribute the pharma products to say 1,000 pharmacies in a particular city.
So ZipDX is another product of yours, you're saying?
Yes.
Zip, how many of these products do you have?
So we have overall about 5 products in the market.
Okay.
We are a 10-year-old concern, right?
Okay.
The company that was started in 2014, when we started doing online home delivery of medicines, we started building this whole platforms. Like the whole concept was that from the time a medicine is manufactured in a pharma company, till the time it reaches in the hands of a patient, what all things are required? We wanted to,
and then he conquered every little part of.
I won't say conquered, but I'll say we build products for that whole thing.
Right.
Hopefully, in the long run, we want to conquer that whole market. But
this is saying in the business world where you start off with the small fish in the lake and then you go for the big shark in the ocean or something like that. That's what you have basically done.
Yeah, we basically looked at the journey of a medicine. That take a pill.
Right.
Like there's a journey that pill
take me at the whole journey and then
down. So so if you look at the overall journey, there are still further softwares that are required. Like from the time the clinical trials happens in a pharma company, it goes through patient trials and then it gets manufactured and all that. But we are looking at a journey from the time the medicine is manufactured and it is packed and ready at a pharma company. till that medicine reaches in the hands of a patient. It touches different aspects. So there are two disconnected yet connected cycles here. So there's one cycle which is you have a pharma company distributing those products to a regional distributor then selling it to a wholesaler then selling it to a retail pharmacy. Then a retail pharmacy selling that medicine to a patient. So this is one journey. The other journey is a pharma company having a bunch of medical representatives who then go to a doctor and inform the doctor that, hey, this is the product we have in the market. When a patient has this problem, you prescribe this product. The doctor then getting convinced about that medical product or medicine, writing a prescription to a patient when the patient comes to them. Like say a patient comes with, I have a thyroid. Then the doctor, prescribes a medicine for a thyroid care, right? And then the patient then going to a pharmacy or purchasing medicines from the pharmacy, and then that pill going in the hands of the patient. So you have these two different cycles, but then that prescription is where it connects those cycles, right? So these two cycles is what we wanted to cover. So that's why you see our products. So we have online pharmacy that helps patients purchase medicines from a pharmacy. We have Pharma Distribution Connect platform, ZipDX, which connects distributors to pharmacies and pharma companies to the distributors. We have Digital RX, which connects doctors to patients in the form of the prescriptions and appointment booking and telemedicine and all that. And then we also have an analytics platform for pharma companies to track how effectively those medicines are being distributed, or which are the doctors that are writing their prescriptions, to track all that.
So how are you basically how are you marketing all these products? Is it more relationship based, or is it do you have outbound sales or some marketing channels that you're working on?
So there are multiple means to sell these products. One is you obviously do a direct reach out to these pharma companies or pharmacy chains or large scale hospitals.
Are they usually open to these ideas or to your products and stuff like that? Are there any rejections that they get? Do you get?
You got to have an omni-channel strategy to sell the products. You have to try on your own. That you also go via partners. So if I'm trying to sell something in Indonesia or I'm trying to sell something in Colombia, right? Then I go via some partner company. And there are other players in the market who are ready to resell your products in their geography, right? So you do a revenue sharing agreement with them, and then they position it in front of the customers there. Okay.
So collectively around these 4 or 5 products, you mentioned that you make roughly you have made $3 to $5 million ARR, or is it total?
Today. I was talking about till date.
Why is it so low?
Good question. That only means we need to learn a lot, improve a lot.
But you have been in the game for 10 years. What is that you still have to learn? Usually people at this age, they're on top of it.
So, good question. So, learning, number one, doesn't stop. It doesn't matter whether you're 20 or 40, you're 60, 80, the learning doesn't stop. The learning has to keep happening no matter what. That's number one. Number two, when you are looking at a business which is like healthcare, right? In healthcare, it's a very slow business. Things don't happen immediately. For example, a pharma company invests about 10 to 15 years in just doing clinical trials of one medicine, right? Just to bring a medicine into the market, they have to spend about 15 years, put that medicine, do the trials of the medicine with different patients of different ethnicities to see how the medicine reacts and all that. So for these pharma companies or pharmacy chains to make decisions or to do full digitization of their entire processes, this takes time. And yet it is a very sticky business. So once we get a customer in the market, that customer stays with us for a very long duration, right? So those are all the complexities of the market that's only you get to realize only when you are into that segment, right?
But the question is if you're not bearing your fruits of your work and of your 10 years of hard work, don't you think it's about time that you do something else? Because I'm guessing that you're not cash positive.
We are cash flow positive since 2017.
Ciao. So that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have been cash flow positive since 2017. We have also given out dividends to our shareholders. We are among the rare startups that have given out dividends. So we are not like a cash burn business, right? We're not burning cash to do a lot of advertising, or we're not throwing away discounts and stuff like that.
So it's still a healthy business.
It's a healthy business, and it's a business that involves very much attention to detail. So say for example, we now got our first European customer. There are a lot of regulations in Europe which are very different compared to other markets in the world. So popularly there is GDPR, but apart from GDPR, there are a lot of other regulations in healthcare market. So for companies to enter this market, there's significant barrier to entry. So it takes about a year and a half to just stabilize the product to that new market. But then once you have done it, then you have that advantage.
Right. So you're saying like we need another 5 years until you can make it 8 figures, 9 figures. Is that what you're trying to say? If so, what is that you have?
Yeah. So there will be an inflection curve where once your products start getting stable, and it starts getting more and more acceptance in the market. Then what happens is it starts the sales cycles will the timeline of the sales cycles will start reducing exponentially. And that's when you start onboarding customers at a much faster rate. So it's like Fibonacci series, right? You start slow, but then it's selling on adds up.
Okay.
So that's what happens in healthcare, where initially it's very slow because you need early adopters. You need people who can try and test out your products and all that. But once the products become super stable and the products start getting acceptance in the market, then it's like Fibonacci series. It's just you add up more and more customers exponentially.
Okay. So what do you think that you have to do to make this $100 million business? What are the key things that you are going to be working on? Or is that not your plan? Is your plan to exit? Or is that your plan? Or is your plan to look for that nine figures, 8 figure idea, keep it growing?
So I haven't seen the future. So, and as an entrepreneur, if opportunities for exit come, we'll look at it. I have investors, so I have to also take care of their needs, and I have to also adhere to their demands as well. So that's one side of the story. The other side of the story is that if there's a strategic M&A that is happening where our products have a strategic advantage in partnering with another company or merging with another company, we'll be open to have that discussion as well.
Want to call out someone that you would like to hopefully partner up with one day?
Well, these sort of things happen behind the doors till the deals are signed.
What's your your dream come true partnership? Is there a company like that you like to?
So I wouldn't talk about the things that are in pipeline, but something that we signed and we successfully executed was during the COVID, we worked with GSK, and we helped GSK enter a particular market with some digital offerings. And that was a huge win for a small startup like ours, because GSK being a global giant in terms of pharmaceutical business, that was a huge win for us.
Right. Okay. Let's step out and pivot to a different discussion. You have all these products. I'm guessing you're working all the time. What's your balance, life-life balance? What's your thought? Because a lot of entrepreneurs have different mentalities when it comes to life-work balance. What's your thought and process behind it all?
So, first of all, isolating work and life, that is, in my opinion, for an entrepreneur, that's a mistake. For an entrepreneur, the work is an essential part of life, right? And when you do work, you will enjoy it. You have to enjoy it. And if you're enjoying it, then it's part of your life. isolating these two things, like work as something that you are doing, you're not proud of, or you're not enjoying it, and life is somewhere like, you enjoy. If you have those kind of barriers, then it's not worth doing that. But if you're enjoying it every moment, then you'll never have this doubt that, oh, this is work, this is life. And all.
Are you enjoying the current work that you're doing, or is there?
How am I doing if I was not enjoying?
Okay.
I'm sort of a guy, if I'm not enjoying, I'll just hand over the keys to someone else to lead it, and I will sit aside and just watch it. So I'm not a kind of a guy who want to hold things to myself if I'm not enjoying it.
So you're doing telemedicine right now, and there's no way in the future that you're going to be pivoting to a different market, or my question is there a market that you think in the future has big potential that you would like to jump in right now? Is there anything like that?
Well, of course, there are so many markets. Healthcare. I came into healthcare because I felt that's a market that is untapped, right? But not a day goes by when I'm not thinking about other ideas. There's not a day that goes by that I'm experimenting or I'm doing something. So I'm an electronics engineer. I love electronics. I wrote research papers on silicon and system on chip. I wrote research papers on silicon. So I'm very much in touch with what's happening in what NVIDIA is doing, or what other players in the market are doing. And I would love to get into hardware business at some point of time. And when I say hardware, I don't mean like I mean like designing chips, right? And creating newer nanomaterials that can help in computing. So those passions. I have a lot of passion for that, and inshallah, if I get a chance in life to hopefully get into that space, I would love to. Another field that I'm super interested is in robotics. And when I say robotics, I don't mean building a robot that looks like a human, but I mean robots that does work. And there's a lot of opportunities in that field. I think the next wave or the next revolution in the technology space is going to happen in robotics, where a lot of things that we humans do manually, we would be getting it done by robots. So, those two fields are very close to my heart. Apart from that, in general, I like to keep up to date with technology.
Aren't you working on those ideas? Like, why is it put to the side? Or
yeah, so see, to make any idea successful, you have to dedicate a significant part of your time to that idea. Right? And you need to also have a team around it. It's like, for example, to build a robot or to build a new chip, you need a team. You need a team. You need infrastructure for that. You need funding for that. There are a lot of things that have to all come together. And this is something that I realized over the period of time, that to accomplish anything, you have to build a pool of people, a pool of resources, a pool of connections, and then you plunge into it. Now, I've given a certain segment of my life to healthcare. I want to see it how that plays out, and I want to give a great exit and great returns to my investors as well. That's a very key commitment that I have, and it's a personal commitment as well that I have to my investors. Because they are the ones who trusted me. They trusted in my abilities. They trusted my ability to lead these companies, right? So giving the returns to them is a very honorable thing for me, and it's something that I take very, very seriously. So inshallah, I'll give them, once I give very good exit to my investors, and then we'll see other feeds.
We'll touch a bit about that topic. How does one, when things are going all bad, how does one keep their investors excited and like give them hope? Because especially when you had investors earlier and your business was about to die, you had to give them hope first. What did you do to give them hope in a situation like that when everything's against you?
Yeah, so it definitely gets challenging at times. My personal approach has been that I keep it very transparent. I don't give false hopes, and I keep it very transparent. At the same time, as an entrepreneur, the best way to show your commitment to the to the investors is just by working as hard as possible, trying to create newer opportunities, and just not getting stagnant. You have to keep hustling. You know, the people who invest in startups, right? They are entrepreneurs by heart themselves. They know what it takes to build a company. They have seen some of those struggles. So when they see the struggles that you are going through, and they see you hustling, they see you trying hard,
To keep them motivated.
it keeps them motivated, and they feel appreciative of you. They try to help you out. Like, for example, I give this example even to my team members that, you know, when I watch a cricket match and see, even if your favorite team is, you know, losing, in a losing position, and the opponents are winning the game, they are just taking it away. But you always have some players on the field who are still trying hard, who are still diving to save that one extra run, right? And you feel proud of that.
Yeah, they got the heart. Keep going. Yeah.
Keep going, right? That's what a startup's entrepreneurs and all the employees within a startup has to do. No matter what, we might not be getting a client. We know that, you know, the conversations have not gone well with the client, but we still need to keep trying. And that effort, the scorecard might not show it, but the viewers, when they are looking at it, they see that effort. So the investors, the people, the clients, when they are seeing that effort, they know that I might not be working with this startup right now, but I want to work with them in future. And that's what plays an important role.
I'm going to end this with a question for our viewers. We have a lot of young viewers that are watching the episode. I asked this to all my founders who I'm interviewing, what is your biggest advice that you give? And please don't keep it unique, because I get a lot of this normal work hard, do this. I want something very unique. What advice can you give these young entrepreneurs who have odds stacked against them? They don't have money, their parents are not supporting them, they're stuck in the education system. What is your advice to them?
So it goes back to that, the first thing that I spoke with you about, what led me to become an entrepreneur, right? You have to find that moment in life where you have this profound realization about what you want to do. What is your purpose in life? There are 6 billion people in the world, right? And you can live an insignificant life. You'll get married, you'll have children, you will die one day. People will remember you for a few days, and then, 100 years later, nobody knows about it. You can live a very purposeless life and pass away. That choice is there in front of you always. But very few men and women in the world rise up to the challenge of having a purpose in life, right? And some people have an extraordinary purpose. Some people have a smaller purpose, but the most important thing is that you need to have a purpose in life. And as long as that entrepreneurship is fulfilling that purpose in life, you should do it. Nothing else matters. Nothing else is more important than working towards a purpose. I am deeply inspired by Muhammad Ali, the boxer. He was a champion boxer, right? But his purpose was not just boxing. He chose greater purposes in life, and he fought those battles. He kept everything at stake for those purposes. He was the world champion. He said, I'm not going to fight the war because those people doesn't make sense. That war doesn't make sense to me. His belt was snatched away. His championship was snatched away. Everything went away, right? But he still stuck to his purpose. And that's what gave him that greatness. So any young entrepreneur who wants to be, my suggestion is that keep that purpose alive.